I have pressed record. So if you will just introduce yourself for me.
Okay, my real name, is Garrett Reisman.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And you are not SAG-AFTRA, correct?
I am not.
Awesome. And then obviously we'll be reaching out to you guys if we book. I'll go through your agent, the guys that we've been reaching out to prior to this for booking and stuff like that. Okay, cool. Well, let's just jump right in.
Right.
So for this first scenario, it's going to sound a little goofy. You sell real estate on the moon.
Okay.
Okay? Which is
I get
actually
it.
a true thing. This is something that we have encountered here.
No, okay.
Yep. Okay, cool. So I'm going to have you reintroduce yourself, and you can just say, "Hi, I'm Garrett, and I sell real estate on the moon."
Okay. Hi, I'm Garrett. I sell real estate on the moon.
You sell real estate on the moon. That is
Yeah.
so interesting. How did you get involved with that?
Well, it is really interesting. It turns out that there are outer space treaties that were signed in the United Nations that govern this type of commercial activity in space, but they never fully concluded that you couldn't sell, have private ownership of real estate on the moon. And hey, that's real estate just like it is anywhere else, so why not? And there's a business case for it. I worked out a plan, and I've been selling it ever since.
That's amazing. So is that like a hot commodity? Are there a lot of real estate agents, or are you pretty much it?
Not yet. It's not you don't have Berkshire Hathaway real estate up there yet, and all the other big names. So we're kind of blazing a trail. But so right now's a good time to buy because there isn't competition, and prices are low. But it's going to go up.
That's amazing. And so when someone comes to you and they want to buy real estate, do you actually show them property, or is it kind of just saying you show them the moon and say it's right over there?
Well, yeah, most people know where the moon is, but no, obviously it's much more specific than that. So they have to pick out the particular part of the moon. Do they want to go equatorial, kind of like where the Sea of Tranquility is, or do they want to go more towards the polar regions, where there actually are ice deposits? There actually could be resources there. So, or if they just want a place that looks cool, like the Faramaro Highlands, with all the jagged peaks up there. So it depends if you're looking for a vista, a view. If you're looking for a moneymaker where you might be able to do some mining, it depends on what you're looking for.
That's very impressive. I'm very impressed with that. So how did you get started with this? Is this something that you've always been fascinated by? Or did you work in real estate before and then said, you know what, next venture, the moon?
Yeah, so I, first of all, I've always been fascinated by space flight. So ever since I was a little kid, I used to watch films of the Apollo missions to the moon, and it just really captured my imagination. And then what I really want to see is one day, all of us venturing forth, not just a couple, a dozen very lucky individuals, but rather, lots of people, and then life up there on the moon, on Mars. Which is probably where we're going to move to next in our business venture. We're probably selling parcels on Mars before too long, but right now we're focused on the moon, and hopefully it's going to become a relatively common thing. Right now I know it sounds a bit unusual, but eventually there's going to have to be land rights on the moon.
And so, how much would a standard property go for that you would sell for the moon?
Right now we're basically selling for just a couple dollars per acre. So it's very reasonable price. It's a great time to get into this, and there's lots of acreage that's available right now. But it is legally binding. You will have a title to the property, and someday it's probably be worth a lot.
That's amazing. Okay, great. You did so well with that. Oh my gosh, I believed you. I was literally.
No, that's probably too low. I probably need to. I would hope we would prepare for the real thing, right? So I could have time to
Yes.
Do some
So
math.
yeah, I forgot to tell you that. So yeah, if once we in the next couple days start to solidify down and because we just had another pitch of Hero Stories this past week, so we're kind of placing everything in the next couple days, and then once that's solidified, we're also going through obviously our imposter interviews and auditions and things like that, and saying, oh, they would be great there. And in your case, you're a really great liar. So there's different, like I said, there's different places that you could fit, and your knowledge seems pretty vast. So,
well, it helps that I know a little bit about the moon.
Well, this is true. That's why the next one is not going to be about the moon. But
okay.
yeah, I mean, it's fun, but a lot of people get caught up in it. So you give really good details. So that's always a hard thing to kind of get past, because I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, great. So good job. Let's do one more, switching it up so it's not necessarily in your comfort level, but still fun. So this time you are going to be the world planking champion.
Oh, wow. With this guy?
Listen, we're just going to go for it. We're going to go for
it.
All right. Okay, so Garrett, you are the world planking champion. How long have you been training for this title?
I mean, technically, I've been training my whole life. I mean, ever since I was a kid and I started playing sports and stuff and working out. I mean, you could really trace it back that far as to where but as far as like really seriously preparing for the title, I would say really just over the past 5 years.
That's amazing. And where does this competition take place?
Well, it takes place wherever you are. I mean, there's not an organized meeting place where we all get together. It's something that has to be per the Guinness rules. You have to get it certified. So you have to have a third-party observer, and there has to be video evidence, and there's a couple other rules you have to follow to make sure it's certified. But really, it can be done anywhere.
Awesome. And what was the time that you placed, that you made it, and that was the record-breaking time?
3 days, 12 hours, and 15 minutes.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
So how would you start training for something like that? I mean, do you have a regimen of kind of workout, or is it just gradually planking every day? Kind of talk to me through that.
Yeah, there's really two aspects to it. One is obviously the physical stamina required, and that you build up just like training for any sport. So doing lots of core exercises. Obviously, the best way to train for any sport is by doing the sport. So obviously doing a lot of planks. So I held planks for long periods of time and gradually worked up to it. Just like you train for a marathon, you don't go for 3 days right out the gate. You work up to it, right?
Yeah.
And then and you do other core exercises too, like medicine ball, sit-ups, all those other types of things. So you don't so you can work other muscles that are adjacent to the ones you use for a plank. But then there's also the aspect of sleep deprivation, right? So you have to make it through a couple of days without sleeping, because obviously once you fall asleep, it's no good. And that, you're allowed to use caffeine. The rules allow for that. So, drinking a lot of coffee and other stimulants. But at the end of the day, it's just will wait that long.
Got it. Okay, cool. That was brilliant. I believed you on that one too.
Don't tell my wife I'm this good.
I promise. I won't. Okay, cool. So now let's just kind of talk about you. Talk to me about.
Okay.
I hate to call it your resume, but I don't know really what else you would say. Kind of just talk to me about your job, the different accomplishments that you've made, and just so my producers kind of have some information from you directly about what that is.
Okay. So the honest truth here is that my name is Garrett Reisman, and I've done I did a bunch of different things, but probably the most critical one is I worked for NASA and I was an astronaut. So I flew on the space shuttle. Actually, I flew on all 3 space shuttles, both Endeavour, Discovery, and Atlantis, but only on 2 missions. The first one was in 2008. Went up on Endeavour, spent about 3 months up on the space station, came home on Discovery, and then my second mission was up and down on Atlantis, also back to the space station. I feel like I'm still lying now.
I kind of feel like you are too. I'm like, oh my gosh, this can't be real.
Over the course of that time, I did a bunch of robotics activities. So I installed a new module on the space station using the robotic arm, and I did 3 spacewalks over those 2 missions, which was definitely the highlight for me. Those were fantastic.
So what is a spacewalk exactly?
Yeah, it's a misnomer, first of all, because you're actually not walking, at least not the way we did it on the space station. It's where you put on the big white suit, and here, kind of like this. This thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, and you're in this, and you're controlling it and kind of...
Well, this chair you're sitting in, and we only did that once. I never did that. I had a little backpack on my suit that was just in case. Just in case I came loose, basically. And it was a last resort, little coal gas thrusters to fly back, because we didn't need that for the space shuttle, because the space shuttle could actually fly after you and go collect you if you drift away.
Oh.
Kind of like in 2001 when the guy starts drifting away and the other guy starts racing after him. You can do that. But you can't do it at the space station. It's too big and unwieldy, and you can't maneuver it that way. So as a result, we wear these backpacks. So if you get yourself into that trouble, then you can fly back manually.
You're literally giving.
So I had something like that, but not that fancy. Yeah.
It's like literally making my heart beat a little bit quicker thinking about that.
Yeah, well, my heart was beating like crazy. I mean, it's an incredible thing. Definitely the most extraordinary experience I had as an astronaut, and it's just first of all, the sensation of being outside, drifting above the Earth in your own little spaceship, because the suit is kind of like its own ship. It's got a radio, it's got cooling systems, it's got lead support systems and batteries and all the things that you have on a spaceship. You have inside your own suit, so you're kind of in your own mini spaceship. And then the view, you have this big glass fishbowl of a helmet, and it's the only thing that separates you and the entire Earth that's unveiled. But as soon as the sun comes up and you see the blue Earth below you, it's almost like if you ever gone scuba diving and you forget that you're wearing a mask and fins and all this other equipment, and you're down there, and eventually you just are so engrossed in the scene that you kind of forget about your physical surroundings. It's kind of like that. You get so overwhelmed by the beauty of the planet that you forget that you're actually like a physical being. It's an incredible thing.
That is insane. So, was that always your goal when you became an astronaut, that you wanted to go to space and you wanted to do all of that?
Well, it was always, as far as being an astronaut goes, it was always something I was fascinated by. And I did watch those. There was a bit of truth in that thing we did before, because I did watch all those films of the Apollo missions, and it was something I always was captivated by. But I never thought I'd do it, because I had this crazy mom that's like scared of flying, like on commercial airplanes. Yeah.
Really?
And so, like, the idea of me becoming a test pilot was not in the cards. I knew that. So it was only much later, when I was in college, and I found out that they were taking engineers and scientists like me, that a light bulb went off, and I realized that maybe I could do this.
So what did you get your degree in?
Undergrad, I was at University of Pennsylvania. I was a dual degree mechanical engineering and business management.
Wow.
And I gravitated more towards the technical side, so I went on to do graduate work at Caltech, and I ended up getting a PhD in mechanical engineering at Caltech. And I was working for a company called TRW, it's now part of Northrop Grumman, and we were working on satellites for NASA. And I was working as an engineer.
Got it.
And then NASA came calling. Yeah.
Say it again?
And then I got the call from NASA, and then everything changed.
Yeah. So how long have you been or were you at NASA? Because you're no longer at NASA, correct?
That's correct. So I was there for 13 years, and after my second mission, we saw that the space shuttle program was kind of coming to an end, and we were looking around, and I saw this company out here, SpaceX, do some pretty incredible things. And I met with Elon Musk, and I sat down and talked to him, and I said, "Look, I really believe in what you're trying to do here. Can I come help you? Will you hire me?" And he said, "Sure." So I left NASA, hung up my spacesuit, and came out here, and I worked for 7 years for Elon at SpaceX.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you were with NASA, were you in Cape Canaveral or in Texas?
We lived in Houston. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from Orlando. That's why I asked.
What's that?
I said I'm from Orlando, so we always used to go there on field trips at Cape Canaveral. So I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. Well, we traveled out there a lot. But we lived in Houston, and now that I'm back in Southern California, occasionally I get nostalgic. So what I do is I run my dishwasher, and when the cycle ends, I shove my head in there, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it used to be like. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't miss it, so I will never do that.
Orlando, yeah. But at least you get the sea breeze.
That's true.
My mom lives in Florida, so she always talks about the sea breeze.
Got it. Yeah. Oh God, but that's very rare. I feel like it's very rare to get that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well. I am fascinated by you. I'm so glad I got to talk to you. I appreciate you taking the time and doing that with us. I'm going to stop recording now.